Scorpio, there's someone who hasn't been able to sleep properly for weeks. Someone who wakes up in the middle of the night with a racing heart, thinking about what they did to you. Someone who looks in the mirror and feels ashamed of their own reflection. This person is paying an invisible price for hurting you, betraying you, underestimating you. And the most amazing thing is that you didn't have to do absolutely anything for this to happen. The universe is taking care of it for you. I know exactly who that person is. And you know too, even if you're trying to convince yourself otherwise, it's that person who smiled in your face while stabbing you in the back. The one who pretended to love you while using you. The one who made you feel small to feel big. The one who discarded you as if you were worthless. It could be someone you loved deeply. It could be someone you trusted blindly. It could be someone you considered family. No matter who it is, that person is reaping exactly what they sowed in your life. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal something that will free you once and for all from the anger, resentment, and need for revenge you may be carrying. I'm going to show you the specific signs that this person is facing real consequences for what they did. I'm going to prove to you that cosmic justice isn't theory. It's a real mechanism that operates silently, but in an absolutely relentless way. And most importantly, I'm going to make you understand that while this person sinks into regret and shame, you are being elevated to a level of power and fulfillment they will never reach. Are you ready to discover that the best revenge isn't the one you plan, but the one the universe executes perfectly without you lifting a finger? Scorpio, I need you to understand something fundamental. No one gets away unscathed after hurting a Scorpio. Not because you'll go after that person for revenge, but because there's a spiritual law that intensely protects those who truly love, who truly trust, who truly surrender themselves. When someone breaks that sacred trust, when someone uses that surrender as a weapon, when someone manipulates that genuine love, that person activates a cosmic force that will pursue them until the lesson is learned. And this force doesn't work in an obvious way. It's not like the person is going to have an accident or lose everything at once. It's much more subtle and, at the same time, much more devastating. It's an internal corrosion, an emptiness that nothing can fill, a guilt that grows like a silent tumor within the conscience, a shame that contaminates every moment of joy that this person tries to feel. It's as if the universe is constantly whispering in their ear, "You know what you did. You know you don't deserve peace until you settle this score." The person who hurt you is living an empty existence, even if on the outside everything seems fine. They may be smiling in photos on social media. They may be in a new relationship. They may have acquired material things, but inside, there's a black hole that sucks away any and all attempts at real happiness, because they know, deep down in their soul, they know that they hurt you in a way they can't undo. And this awareness corrodes them more each day that passes. For Scorpios born between October 23rd and November 2nd, this person who is ashamed is someone who betrayed your emotional trust, someone you loved deeply, and who used that love against you. For those born between November 3rd and 12th, it's someone who sabotaged you professionally or publicly, trying to diminish your brilliance. And for those born between November 13th and 22nd, this person is someone from your own family or inner circle who judged you unfairly or abandoned you when you needed them most. But regardless of who that person is, the pattern is the same. They are now facing the unseen consequences of messing with the wrong person. And you, Scorpio, are about to witness, if you aren't already, clear signs that this person is being held accountable by the universe. Can you sense that there is a higher justice operating behind the scenes of your story, an intelligence that sees everything and adjusts everything? The shame this person feels isn't superficial. It's not the fleeting regret everyone feels when they make a small mistake. It's a deep existential shame that questions their own worth as a human being. They look back and see what they did to you, how they treated you, how they discarded you, how they hurt you, and they can't forgive themselves. Because deep down, they know you didn't deserve that. They know you were genuine, you were true, you were loyal, and they threw all of that away. What makes this shame even heavier is that this person probably tried to justify themselves at first. They created narratives in their own head to make themselves feel less guilty. They tried to paint you as the villain of the story, to portray themselves as the victim. But as time went on, these lies crumbled. Reality began to bleed through the cracks in the false story they created, and now they can no longer escape the truth. They were cruel, unfair, and cowardly towards you. In recent days and weeks, you've probably noticed some strange signs related to this person. You may have heard about them through third parties, and the news wasn't good. You may have unexpectedly bumped into them and noticed they seemed uncomfortable, different, diminished. You may have received indirect messages through mutual friends or even directly, trying to reopen some kind of communication or subtly seek your forgiveness. These aren't random signs. They're evidence that the weight of shame is becoming unbearable for this person. They're trying to find a way to alleviate this internal pressure, even if they don't have the courage to be completely honest about what they're feeling. But here's something crucial you need to understand. Their forgiveness doesn't depend on you. Their peace isn't in your hands. This is an internal battle they'll have to fight alone, and no external absolution will resolve what's happening inside them. The universe has a very specific way of dealing with people who hurt Scorpios. First, it gives them rope. It lets the person think they got away with it, that they managed to deceive you, that they were smarter than you. This phase can last weeks, months, sometimes even years. During this period, the person lives normally, may even be happy, achieving things, moving on with their life. And you, Scorpio, can look at this and feel anger, feel injustice, wonder where the law of karma is. But then something changes. Suddenly, without warning, the bill starts coming due, and it doesn't come in an obvious or dramatic way. It comes in the form of inexplicable dissatisfaction. Relationships that seem perfect on the outside, but are empty on the inside. Achievements that don't bring real joy. A constant feeling that something essential is missing, but without being able to identify what it is. And at the center of it all, like a ghost that cannot be exorcised, is the memory of what was done to you. The person starts seeing you everywhere, not physically, but energetically. They see traces of you in other people. They hear songs that remind them of you both. They pass by places you used to frequent together. They have disturbing dreams where you appear, saying nothing, just looking with that intense gaze that only Scorpios have. And each of these experiences is like a nudge from the universe saying, remember what you did, remember what you destroyed, remember who you lost. The most fascinating thing about all of this is that you don't need to do absolutely anything for this process to happen. You don't need to plan revenge. You don't need to try to make the person feel bad. You don't need to monitor their life to make sure they're suffering. All of this happens automatically, as if you had an invisible army of cosmic forces working in your favor. And the more you simply move on with your life, heal, grow, and become a better version of yourself, the heavier the burden of shame becomes for the person who hurt you. Scorpio, there's something in your energy field that permanently marks whoever hurts you. It's as if that person carries an invisible tattoo that says, I made the mistake of underestimating a Scorpio, and this mark doesn't fade with time. In fact, it becomes more visible, it becomes heavier, it begins to affect other areas of that person's life in ways they can't understand. Their future relationships will be tainted by the guilt of what they did to you. Professional successes will be emptied by the feeling of unworthiness. Moments that should be happy will be stained by the constant reminder of the betrayal they committed. And you know what's most poetic about this cosmic justice? The person will try everything to get rid of this burden. They'll try to distract themselves with new things. They'll try to find other people to fill the void. They'll try to justify themselves to friends, to family, to themselves. But nothing will work. Because the only way to truly free themselves from this shame would be to have the courage to come to you, look you in the eyes, and fully admit the truth of what they did. And that, for most people, is impossible. The ego doesn't allow it. Fear doesn't allow it. Cowardice doesn't allow it. So this person gets stuck in an emotional limbo. They can't forgive themselves because they know they don't deserve forgiveness. They can't reach out to you because they're too ashamed to face the truth. And they can't truly move on because you remain like a shadow over everything they try to build. It's a perfect prison, a sentence without an end date, a torture they created themselves by deciding to treat you as if you were worthless. Meanwhile, you, Scorpio, are undergoing a completely different transformation. Yes, you were hurt. Yes, you felt pain. Yes, there were moments when you wanted revenge, when you imagined ways to make that person pay for what they did. But instead of acting on that anger, you chose, consciously or unconsciously, a much more powerful path. You chose to transform yourself through pain instead of destroying yourself because of it. And that choice changed everything. Because while the person who hurt you is sinking in shame and regret, you are rising. You are discovering strengths within yourself that you didn't know you had. You are developing an emotional wisdom that few possess. You are building a version of yourself so powerful, so magnetic, so incredible, that when that person finally has the courage to look at you again, they will wonder how they could have let someone like you slip away. The true revenge of a Scorpio isn't about making the other person suffer. It's about becoming so extraordinary that their absence in your life becomes the greatest punishment they could receive. It's about living so well, so fully, so authentically, that the person who discarded you spends the rest of their life wondering if they made the biggest mistake they could ever make. And believe me, Scorpio, this is happening right now. The person who hurt you is seeing, whether through social media, mutual friends, or simply feeling it energetically, that you are doing well. And that destroys them from the inside, because she expected you to fall down. She expected you to play the victim. She expected you to remain trapped in the pain she caused. But you did none of that. You rose up. You rebuilt yourself. You transformed pain into power. And now she realizes that by trying to destroy you, she actually strengthened you. By trying to make you feel small, she motivated you to become greater. By discarding you as if you were worthless, she pushed you to discover your true value. In the coming days and weeks, you will begin to receive more clear signs that this person is being consumed by shame over what they did. It could be through friends who tell you that they talk about you, ask about you, and seem remorseful. It could be through direct attempts at contact, innocent messages to test if you are still receptive. It could be through situations where you discover that they are going through difficulties, not because you wish them ill, but because life has a way of teaching us the lessons we need to learn. When those signs arrive, and they will, remember this: you have absolutely no obligation to make this person's life easier. You don't need to accept hasty apologies. You don't need to pretend everything is okay just so they feel better about themselves. You don't need to forgive someone you don't truly feel just to appear spiritually evolved. Real forgiveness, when it comes, will come naturally, at its own pace, when you are truly ready. And that day may come, or it may not. And both options are perfectly correct. What the universe wants you to understand right now is not that you need to forgive to be free. It's that you are already free. The shame that person feels is not your responsibility. The regret they carry is not your problem. Their need for redemption is not something you need to satisfy. Your only responsibility now is to yourself. It is to honor your own healing. It is to protect your own peace. It is to build your own happiness on solid foundations that no one else can destroy. Scorpio, one of the most powerful things that will happen in the coming times is that you will finally understand why you went through this. Not because you deserved it. You never deserved to be treated that way. But because you needed to learn something that only pain can teach, you needed to discover that you are much stronger than you imagined. You needed to learn to trust your own intuition, which probably warned you about this person, but which you ignored. You needed to develop a level of emotional discernment that will protect you from future betrayals. And above all, you needed to learn that you don't need revenge when you have real power. Revenge is for people who feel powerless, who need to act externally because they lack inner strength. But you discovered something much better, the power to transform yourself so completely that the absence of your presence in the life of the person who hurt you becomes the greatest punishment possible. The power to build a life so good, so full, so meaningful, that whoever discarded you spends the rest of their existence regretting that decision. The person who is ashamed of what they did to you will carry that shame in ways you can't even imagine. They will look at their own children and feel guilty for not being the example of integrity they should be. They will try to start new relationships and sabotage everything because deep down they don't feel worthy of love. They will achieve professional success and be unable to celebrate because victory feels empty when their conscience is tarnished. They will grow old looking back and seeing the moment they hurt you as one of the biggest regrets of their life. And you, Scorpio, will grow old looking back and seeing that same moment in a completely different way. You will see it as a turning point, as the catalyst that forced you to discover who you really are, as the painful experience that prepared you to receive much better things, as the moment where you died and were reborn stronger, wiser, more powerful than ever. And you will be grateful, not for the pain, but for the transformation that the pain made possible. Pay attention in the coming days to how you feel when you think about this person. If you still feel intense anger, sharp pain, a need for revenge, this indicates that you are still processing, and that's okay. Healing has no deadline. But if you start to feel indifference, if you begin to realize that they no longer occupy so much space in your mind, if you even begin to feel a certain compassion for the emotional prison they created for you, these are signs that you are truly freeing yourself. And when this liberation is complete, you will realize that the best thing this person did for you was to show you who they really were before you invested even more time and energy in them. Scorpio, what impresses me most about your situation is that you have the opportunity to break a pattern that many Scorpios fall into. The pattern of holding grudges for years, of planning elaborate revenges, of being consumed by hatred. You can choose a different path. You can choose to use all that emotional intensity that characterizes your sign not to destroy the person who hurt you, but to build a version of yourself so impressive that revenge happens automatically without you having to do anything. And when you choose this path, something magical happens. You stop being a victim and become the creator of your own reality. You stop giving power to those who hurt you and begin to reclaim all your personal power. You move from the role of the betrayed to the role of the liberated. And this change of perspective changes absolutely everything. It changes how you feel, how you act, how you attract future experiences. The person who is ashamed of what they did to you will eventually have to face themselves. It might be in therapy, it might be during a crisis, it might be when you're alone at night unable to sleep. But at some point, they will have to honestly look at what they did and acknowledge the truth. And when that moment comes, the shame they feel now will seem small compared to the magnitude of the remorse they will experience, because they will realize that you didn't just destroy a relationship, you destroyed a unique opportunity to have someone special in your life. Meanwhile, you'll be so far ahead, so far removed from this story, so busy living your best life, that when this person finally gathers the courage to seek you out and admit what they did, you'll look at them with an almost nostalgic strangeness, as if you were looking at someone from a past life you barely recognize, and it won't be pretense or coldness on your part. It will be genuine indifference, the kind of indifference that's only possible when you've truly moved on and built something much better. You need to know that you are protected by forces far beyond your comprehension. You need to know that the shame the other person feels is real and has real consequences in their life. You need to know that you don't need to do anything other than continue healing, growing, and becoming the best version of yourself. The universe will take care of the rest. Share in the comments, if you feel comfortable, an emoji that represents how you're feeling about the person who hurt you. You don't need to tell the whole story, just leave an emoji. This will help you process it and will also show other Scorpios that they're not alone in this experience of dealing with betrayal and pain. Subscribe to the channel now, because what you've just discovered is only the beginning of a larger process of reclaiming your personal power. You'll need more guidance on how to maintain your boundaries, how to avoid future manipulation, and how to recognize when someone has truly changed versus when they're just trying to manipulate you again. Turn on notifications so you don't miss content that will further empower you. Remember, someone is ashamed of what they did to you. That shame is eating them up inside, and you don't need to do anything at all other than live well. The best revenge is your happiness. The greatest punishment you can give to the person who discarded you is to become irreplaceable, not so that person comes back, but so they realize what they lost and will never find again. You're already on that path. Keep going.